I'm JC, welcome to 11th Ave.
Tell me what we got going.
So currently we're working on building out our retail space. So this is where like our merchandise will be sold. This is gonna be our full photo video studio with multiple different colors of backdrops. So then this is our main studio. This is our bigger studio, Studio 1. So we have two different options, 40 and 50 an hour for studio time. No, I had a lot of help. I have a lot of friends along the way that have helped me build out a lot of this stuff. Been lucky to at least have that. So we have new leather patch beanies coming in. These are dropping in the next 2 weeks. And then we have our Great Aunt Pearl merch design.
Yo, where are we right now? What city, what state?
Downtown St. Paul. Dream big for all our creatives out there.
Really out here.
So this is studio number 2.
Bo Brooks Films on Instagram.
Hell yeah.
Me and Jake are always cooking up some fire.
Wilson, IDK Wilson, Instagram.
Yes, sir.
Musician, artist extraordinaire.
So, anything to say about JC?
He's the GOAT.
Best
Helping
manager in
everybody
the
out.
world.
I'm Jake Carter. I'm the owner and founder of 11th Ave Productions, which is a full creative production house in downtown St. Paul. So I actually grew up on the east side of St. Paul. That's where my grandma and grandpa's house was, so I knew I wanted to stay around the St. Paul area. I feel as it's kind of like an untapped market. Everybody talks about like, oh, I need to be in Minneapolis. Minneapolis is where everything's popping. And it's like it is, but at the same time, like no one gives enough love, in my opinion, to St. Paul, which is the foundation of the Twin Cities. Nobody really knows that. That's why it's the capital, is because it was the first city it was founded. It was founded before Minneapolis. Minneapolis was just able to grow a lot quicker. So I wanted to stay closer to home and kind of build where I came up. That's also ties into like my company is called 11th Ave, which is the street that my high school is on. And our logo is the snowman, which is North St. Paul is home to the world's largest snowman. So I kind of wanted to give back to where I came from right off the bat. And I think staying in St. Paul is another good way of kind of showing where I come from and what I represent.
Okay. So it was like intentional.
Yeah, well, kind of. I had an internship in college, and they were actually in this same building before they moved out. And the owner of that company, called Unreal, he is one of my mentors, and he kind of helped teach me the game, helped me get around certain areas and navigate through the forest and figure out little shortcuts and ins and outs of certain ways of business. And he actually helped me get this space. This is his old space. So that's kind of why we're in downtown, but it's also very important for me to stay in St. Paul because I want to give back to where I came from. So I first started doing it because I was actually recording for one of my best friends in our basement of our house, and I was like, well, I definitely want to be your manager if like we continue to progress with this, because I'm not so talented on the artist side, but I love that kind of aura of an artist, and I love like how they navigate through life and everything, that the lifestyle of the artist. I like that. I thought the idea of being a manager would be really cool, to be kind of on the back end, like you're the structure in the artist's life. You're watching their back, you're their best friend. You have to make sure that you're looking out for their best interest, and their best interest comes first before your interest, because it's their career at the end of the day that's on the line at all times. And how it's kind of progressed, I mean, it's always changing. The music industry is always changing. There's always new challenges that you're going to run into. There's still a lot that I have to learn. I mean, I've learned a lot along the way, not only about being a manager, but just being a manager teaches you about how to live, how to work with others, how to invest in others, and kind of working on structuring your life as well as helping to structure other people's lives. So I started 11th Ave because I believe that there is far too many creatives that start all of this as a hobby, and that's sadly where it ends, is just as a hobby or a part-time gig. It's never something that they can take and run with and actually turn into a financial income and a life and something that they can do forever and ever and ever. So I wanted to create this as an area to allow creatives to grow and be themselves and have clientele, active clientele, where they can come in and they can start getting that financial balance in their life off of what they actually want to do. They can learn from others, they can connect with others that are all trying to do the same thing, navigating through the same struggles, running into the same issues. They can bounce ideas off of those people, because everybody's going to know certain things that you're not going to know in this world, and that's just how it is. People run into different things along their story or along their journey, and there's a lot that you can learn from just having a simple conversation with another creative. And I think a space that promotes networking within that creative atmosphere is something that's super powerful and something that I've loved to do since I've had it. I've met so many people and learned so many new things and so many different outlooks on life that I would not have gotten if I had not created the space. We have a new wave of creatives who are working to get to those places, or even help to make the Twin Cities one of those places. They just don't have a lot of resources to get that game. So I think it's a lot of individuals who are really just kind of trying to figure out that direction for themselves and learn from their mistakes and learn from other individuals that they're networking with and hanging out with. And I think in the long run, Minnesota is extremely slept on and has a lot to offer because we are such a blue-collar state. We work our asses off, and I think that that will be a big issue for other states that, in my opinion, get a lot more opportunities handed to them because it's so relevant in their industry. And I think if we grow the community like we are and develop those avenues, I think a lot more individuals will create that market where they're actively investing in themselves. And by them investing in themselves, they're investing in other individuals who are trying to make this their career. And it'll create a way for them to actually be financially stable on both ends of the spectrum. And that's, in my opinion, what will create a market, because there's just not enough money flowing around this market yet. Because we don't know. We don't have a direction, we don't have guidance, and we're not currently figuring out how we can make money ourselves as creatives.
Right.
You have to have somewhere where you're gonna actively sell merch, you're gonna actively sell tickets, because it's a 70-30 rule, which is what I learned in school, surprisingly. One of like the things I did learn in school that actually kind of correlated, but you're gonna get 70% of your revenue from 30% of your market. So that 30% is going to actively go to your shows, they're gonna actively stream your music, they're gonna actively buy your merch. So that's the 30% that you need to focus on, because that's where you're gonna create 70% of your livelihood. And I think at times people focus too much on that extra 70% because they're trying to get so many new viewers rather than trying to tailor to the market that is right in front of them. Yes, it's extremely important to gain new market, but if you don't have sound infrastructure in your 30%, you're never going to have sound infrastructure in your financial situation. And if you're sound in your financials, that's how you're going to be able to actively invest in yourself and invest in your craft. It is extremely important to invest in marketing promotion outside of Minnesota, but I think when you figure out what your market is within Minnesota, I think it is extremely important to make sure you're tapping in with that community and actively asking for opinions, asking what they're looking for in your music. And not to say like you should worry about what everybody else is saying at every single time, but it's definitely good if you're getting good constructive criticism or even just good build-ups. It's always nice to hear those things, and it's always nice to take in all of those different, I guess, opinions of the individuals around you. But I mean, obviously do it with a grain of salt. You don't want to too much overload your headspace, but I definitely enjoy creative criticism, or I can't even remember how I said it, but
You said
constructive criticism. There
what? How
it
old
is.
are you?
I'm 23.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Not in particular.
Can you take me around the space?
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah. Cool.